What's up, friends? Welcome back to the Scrap Trawlers channel where we do EDH on a budget. I'm your host, Andy Zupke. With me, as always, this handsome gentleman up here, the plaid-clad man himself. It's Nick Martin.
It's me, and I'm missing a lot of hair.
You're missing it? Where did it go?
It froze off. All the snow just whoop, it's gone.
Oh, all right. Well, that's unfortunate. What are we doing tonight?
So we're skipping over Nemesis apparently, and we're talking about Prophecy. We're gonna look at some budget cards that are within the set, $3 and under, which is every single card at least for the rares anyway. So let's talk about Prophecy. It's the third set in the Mercadian Masks block. The first time we did this was for the treasure hunt was Mercadian Masks. So maybe we'd have to go back to Nemesis eventually. I don't know. Fun trivia for the set. Mark Rosewater said, in his opinion, Prophecy felt disjointed from the rest of its block, and it's the second worst designed set in Magic history, comparable to Homelands, which is awesome. And for our EDH friends out there, which is, I think, everybody, Prophecy is the set with everyone's favorite blue draw spell, Mystic Study.
But it wasn't a rare.
No, it was not.
It was an uncommon. Ridiculous.
And no like keyword set mechanics in Prophecy either. There were some cycles like the legendary spell shapers and what was it, anti rebel cards, which is I guess that was a thing.
It's very relevant to EDH.
Yes, all those changeling decks running around. You gotta get in there.
And you gotta build an anti-tribal deck, right?
There we go.
Okay, moving on to our next segment here. Should we do the positivity spotlight?
Let's do it.
All right, let's shine a light. Nick, this week was your spotlight. Tell us about who you picked.
Yeah, so in the positivity spotlight this week, we have ALK Altars. If you don't know ALK, he does a lot of sweet altars. Got to play a game with him and a couple other folks a little while back. Always a good time. Can't wait to play more with them. But he's a good member of the community, and this month he's actually got something going on for Black History Month. He's running a proxy giveaway, and all you have to do is donate at least $5 or more to a large swath of different Black organizations and charity locations, and it's going to be a grand prize winner, it looks like, for 11 different proxies, and some 6 additional winners for a set of 3 proxies each. I will link the Google Docs form in chat here for those of you who want to take a look. So ALK, thanks for being awesome. Thanks for being you.
Thanks, buddy. All right, there's a link. Go check that out, and let's move on to see some cards. Let's look at the second worst set in the history of Magic. It's Prophecy. Okay,
Nobody
so
saw this coming.
Prophecy puns. Hey, so this is what is this? Is this our third treasure hunt, our fourth? So for those who don't know, our treasure hunts, what we do is we look at an old set and we look at all the rares, but we look at specifically anything that's like $3 and under on Card Kingdom, just to take a look and see if there's anything hiding in there that should be seeing more play in EDH. So this set is kind of interesting because only one card was above our threshold. So we're going to be looking at all except one rare.
And of course, the one that's over $3 is one that Chris, I see you in chat, Chris. I know you love Overburden, and no, we're not talking about it. So if that's all you wanted to see, you can go
now. So yeah. So we're gonna look at a lot of rares today. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so we're skipping Overburden because that's over our price threshold.
Overburden, overpriced.
There you go. All right, I'll start us off here with Avatar of Woe. Whoa! Avatar of Woe is in 4,236 decks on EDH Rec. So its downside, let's say the cost reduction, let's say it's not too hard to accomplish in EDH. So obviously you have 3 opponents, especially if you're doing some sort of mill or graveyard strategy. So I don't think that's really too much of an issue. Let's see. Can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. So it has Intimidate or Fear, as it was originally called for the black creatures.
I guess Wiki is wrong then. It's technically a keyword. It just wasn't a keyword at the time, I guess.
What is?
Fear.
Oh, Fear. Got it. Okay. Yeah. It's not keyworded on the card. Maybe that's what they meant.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically, 2 mana for 6/5 is pretty great. Obviously, the problem is that it doesn't have haste. So, as with any creature with a powerful tap ability, you gotta hope that it gets back to your turn and you still have it, or you gotta put a Swiftfoot Boots on it. I'd say 4,000 decks. I wouldn't consider that underplayed. Put a Thornbite Staff on this, and you can just machine gun the whole field. What do you think of Avatar of Woe? Have you ever played it?
Yeah, so the Avatar cycle, the first time I saw it was in the original Commander Precons from 2011. Avatar of Woe, I believe, was in the Mimeoplasm deck, which is the one I got.
Okay.
And really easy to fill your graveyard in one of those decks, especially when you're milling everybody, including yourself. So getting that mana cost reduction was not difficult. And for those of you who still play Royal Assassin is still really good in casual tables. Like I still like playing it from time to time, because even if you don't have haste, if it comes around, no one's attacking you anymore.
Yeah,
no.
that only destroys tapped creatures though.
Right, but if they try to attack you, just like, all right, it's tapped, well, it's dead.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a good card. I mean, there's a lot of strategies that can easily get around the reduction cost so that it's not costing you 8 mana for this. Yeah, just try and haste it up or protect it some other way. I hope it lives.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
All right. So, in addition to the Avatar cycle, there was a Wind cycle.
Yeah. Let's break this Wind cycle.
Oh, ew. We got Plague Wind, 7 black. For a sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control. They can't be regenerated. Fun fact about this card, there's a better version called Ingaruk's Wake. It also destroys planeswalkers.
Yep.
It's also less than $1. So, yeah, you can play Ingaruk's Wake, I guess. It's cool art, though. I like it.
Yeah, well, you know how much I love Ingaruk's Wake.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it's better than this in every way. It hits planeswalkers. Not so much really a thing in budget. You don't see tons of planeswalkers out there. But it is also cheaper than this. Although Plague Wind has been reprinted. It was in 1 or 2 core sets, too. So there might be cheaper copies than this. But Ingaruk's Wake is pretty cheap. So I think better off running Ingaruk's Wake for the most part. Although Plague Wind is in 3,763 decks, so that's still quite a bit.
It is, and we're going to start a new segment, like a little mini one with Treasure Hunt. It's the mini segment, can you tutor this with Grozoth? And the answer is yes.
Yes. All right. Moving on. Ristic Tutor. Okay. So, 2 and a black sorcery. Unless any player pays 2 mana, any player pays 2 mana, search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, and shuffle your library. I'm going to go ahead and say this is pretty darn near unplayable in EDH.
From what I've heard from Chesh over on Commander Crunch, he's really high on this card.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, if you do this on turn 3, the majority of people have already cast Cultivate or a Mana Rock or something, and nobody has exactly 2 to pay, so you can just get whatever you want.
Okay, I guess I can see that it's good in the early game. Late game, it's useless.
And Colin in chat says it's a politics card.
Yeah, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you'd have to do that with every player, though.
Yeah, I'd rather use like the Wishclaw Talisman.
From
Eldraine. I think it's
from
Eldraine.
Yes, Wishclaw Talisman's great. It's an excellent card. The problem with this though is that you got to make a deal with every player because anybody could pay the 2. Anybody could make it.
You know me, I love some good politics, but this is really hard to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really like playing cards that don't scale with the game. So I mean, if a card's only good at the beginning of the game, then it's not good.
Yeah.
It is in 384 decks on EDH Rec.
Andy Fleury subscribing for 3 months. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, AT Fleury. Hey, what's up, Andy? Thanks for showing up for our prophecy hunt here.
I hope you like bad cards.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot.
I think our next set has to be Homelands now, right?
Let's try and make our next set really good.
Are there even any rares in Homelands?
Yeah. Yeah. Probably not.
Right.
They're probably worth about the same amount as the commons.
Yeah, speaking of cards that scale a little bit better, we have Keldon Firebombers, 3/3 for 3 in double red. When it ETBs, each player sacrifices all but 3 lands. So this is not exactly mass land destruction. I've seen people use Keldon Firebombers as an argument for. It's the argument that you see on Twitter every couple months where ramp is out of control, green decks are OP, we need to run mass land destruction to stop ramp. This doesn't stop it, but it does help a little bit. It doesn't stop it because, if somebody's sandbagging Kodama's Reach for some reason, they have their 3 lands and they can just cast it and get past you again. But it doesn't get rid of Mana Rocks, so. What do you think about this card?
Well, I've always been pretty firmly against MLD in EDH. I guess where this stands above that is that everybody still gets 3 lands, but if you're late in the game and everybody suddenly goes down to 3 lands, I feel like that might just stretch the game out.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you got some way to make sure that you come out on top. Not really a huge fan. It isn't
right?
It isn't in 820 decks on EDH Rec, most commonly in Zozu the Punisher.
Sounds about right.
But it's actually in over half of those decks.
Wow, okay, Zozu decks.
Yeah, Zozu likes this card, apparently. All right. Moving on.
I don't. Let's go to the next one. Oh, Colin in chat saying Turd with Red Splash. Yeah, you can just get all the lands and then you get there.
Yeah. Turgid with we'll actually talk about Turgid again in a little bit later.
Oh.
Are you reading this one or am I reading this one? I forget what order we're in. Is this me?
I just read Firebomber, so you can do the Squirrel Wrangler.
The Squirrel Wrangler. All right. 2 green for a 2/2 druid. Pay 1 and a green. Sacrifice a land. Put 2 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play. Or pay 1 and a green. Sacrifice a land. All squirrels get +1/+1 until end of turn. So this is in 236 decks on EDH Rec. Top commander is the new Toski, the legendary indestructible squirrel from Kaldheim. I imagine this be okay in Gitrog, but I feel like Gitrog probably has enough better cards than this for sacrificing lands that this just isn't really showing up much.
Yeah, I can probably see this more in Windgraze decks, just because you want creatures to block for Windgraze so you can keep doing stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oddly enough, this is good anti-Keldon Firebombers deck. You just sacrifice the lands except 3, and you get some value.
This is true. This is true. And the nice thing is you can tap those lands for the mana that you use to sacrifice, you know.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I don't know what this does. We're gonna read it. It's Celestial Conversions. It's 2 and double white. It's an enchantment. It comes into play with 7 Omen counters on it. That's for you, Andy Fleury. Play this in your Abzan weird counters deck. Beginning of your upkeep, remove an Omen counter from it. If there are no Omen counters on it, the player with the highest life total wins the game. If 2 or more players are tied, the game is a draw. Wait, does that mean the game is a draw for all 4 players if 2 are the same? What does that mean?
Yeah, the game is a draw. Nobody wins.
That's awesome. What do you think about draw effects in EDH? I like them when they're like at the end of the game because, you know, game's gotta end, right? But if everybody wins, I'm okay with it. I'm not one to get salty about drawing a game.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is in 303 decks, in EDH Rec, and I think it's really interesting. I've never seen it played before. Have you? Anybody in chat ever seen this? So I think this is a pretty solid win con for life gain decks. I've seen many life gain decks that like just have trouble closing out the game because they just gain life, you know. And this could definitely do it. I mean, obviously you got to get through 7 turns with it, but there's plenty of ways to remove those counters. The best would be Ether Snap or Thief of Blood, which both of those remove all counters from all permanents.
Sully in chat is saying Solemnity. Good stuff.
Yeah. Vampire Hexmage works. If you wanted to do a Tayum, the Abzan commander from the latest Commander Precon set last year, which is pay 3, remove 3 counters of any kind from any permanents, and do something.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that would work with this. The only drawback is it only triggers at the beginning of your upkeep, so, you know, you got to make sure that you're removing them and that this doesn't get blown up before you get to trigger on your upkeep without the counters on it. But I don't know. I think this is cool. I would really like to see this in a game, actually. I would love to see a game end in a draw.
Yeah. Would you rather lose to this or lose to Felidar Sovereign, which kind of does the same thing?
I would much rather lose to this. Much rather. This is funny.
I think I might want this for my Brian Stoutarm deck I'm building.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. It's cool, though. All right. Well, we know that Cowboy Kyle has this next commander, so why don't you read it?
Okay. Now, how do you pronounce this? Magetta?
I think it's like Vegeta, like Vegeta.
Magita. Like that?
Magita.
Magita. I think it's Magetta. I don't know. Whatever the lion is a Spell Shaper legend. 3
right.
white for 3/3. Pay 2 white. Tap it. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Destroy all creatures except for Magita, the lion. Those creatures can't be regenerated. So this is in 238 decks. It's the commander of 53 decks. Repeatedly wiping the board kind of makes for a miserable game. I think unless you're running cards that can like end the game after you take care of this, I don't know what would be your win con with this. I mean, I guess if you can't do, if you're playing this as your commander, obviously you can't do like Blood Artist or stuff like that.
I think just run like all the spells that make your creatures indestructible, like Akroma's Vengeance, not Akroma's Vengeance, Akroma's Will, the new one.
Yeah.
You know, with that, you cast that, and then it's 8 mana and 3 cards. Ugh.
Avacyn.
It's white. Is this anti-card draw, right? So
yeah,
you don't have to worry about drawing cards. Doesn't matter. It's perfectly balanced.
Yeah, so Colin mentioned Voltron, which sounds like the obvious thing, except for the fact that you have to tap this to use its ability. So if you want to kill somebody with this thing, you gotta give it vigilance if you're gonna do its ability, right?
Yeah, that's that is true. I guess you could discard. I'm thinking like gross jank, like those incarnations where if they're in a graveyard, if you control planes, it does stuff
Mm-hmm.
like Valor.
Okay.
Like all my creatures are first strike, haha, but they're also dead because I just killed them. So I don't know. It's a spell shaper.
Yeah. Chris said Steve had a Magenta the Lion deck. I don't know, Steve. Approach of the Second Sun was the win con. Or just attacking. Yeah, I like Approach. It's a good card. It's one of my
Yeah, I
favorite
guess if you played it as a
win cons.
control deck, yeah, to your point, continuously wiping the board with this or the new Golgari Wolf thing.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah.
not my style.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is my style? This Avatar of Hope.
Oh, yeah?
Or like Avatar of Nope. So it's 6 and double white for a 4/9 flyer. If you have 3 or less life, Avatar of Hope costs 6 less to cast, but it can block any number of creatures. So I like that it's called Avatar of Hope, and it can just block everything when you're at like near death.
Yeah. This is in 67 decks. I feel
This
like
card's hilarious.
if you're down to 3 life, this card's probably not going to save you.
It's your last hope.
It's I mean, if you're blocking like everything that's coming at you, it's going to die. Right? If somebody just, comes at you with a whole bunch of creatures, it's probably going to die at some point. It's not going to save you for very long. Especially
If you're playing Faithful Hour Tribal, you might want to with this card.
Yeah, I suppose. So for 8 mana, I mean, you're unlikely to be able to cast this for its reduced cost. So let's treat it as an 8 mana 4/9 flyer that can block any number of creatures. I mean, if you can put something on it like Indestructibility, there are certainly cards that can improve this. Veterans Armaments, which will give it +1/+1 for each attacking creature. Dread Iron Sledge destroys the equipped creature and all creatures it blocks. So do that. But still, I wouldn't play it.
You have no hope for this card?
No. And this next one, even less so. Copper Leaf Angel. It's a 2/2 flyer for 5 mana. Wow. Tap it. Sacrifice X lands. Put X +1/+1 counters on Copperleaf Angel. How about not?
Do you remember when artifacts were overcosted because you could play them in any deck?
Yeah.
Copperleaf Angel remembers.
I'm glad. Pepperidge Farm remembers. This card is awful. Like, I would just run a better anything. It's just, there's so many creatures that you could run for 5 mana that just are better than this. I mean, what?
It's anti-Keldon Firebomber tech again.
Yeah. Just not worth it. Okay.
I just realized, going back to Keldon Firebombers,
Yeah.
it probably combos with Avatar of Woe, right? Oh no, it's only creatures, it's not all cards. Never mind. This card's bad. Let's go to the next one. Dual Nature, which I have actually considered playing in a couple decks. 4 and double green for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature comes into play, that creature's controller gets a token copy of it. When a non-token creature leaves the battlefield, exile all tokens with the same name as that creature. And same thing when Dual Nature leaves the battlefield. So this hits everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where I wanted to play this, but just getting, I think it was in a Tristani deck, but just getting double tokens and whatnot and being able to populate them, that's pretty cool. You can get token copies of any creature, so I'm sure there's some ridiculous stuff you can do to get more advantage out of this than your opponents.
Mm-hmm. So Dual Nature is in 291 decks on EDH Rec, and it is in my Emoti Cascade deck. You didn't get to see it though, but it is in there. I think this card is awesome and highly underplayed. If you're running a deck with lots of creatures that aren't legendary, or maybe you're doing like a Simic deck with Sakashima, this card is great. Your opponents get the benefits too, yeah, but that's just sometimes effects like that just make for fun games. But where this should be played is in Yarok. This should be in every Yarok, let's say almost every Yarok deck.
Okay.
Because this is an ETB effect. Whenever a creature comes into play, that's an ETB effect, so Yarok's going to trigger, right?
Oh, I'm
going to trigger twice.
Because they all sound the same.
No, Yarok is the Panharmonicon creature.
Yeah.
The Sultai one. So this is going to trigger twice with Yarok out. So you're going to get 2 token copies of each creature that you have come into play. So that is, if you cast a Mull Drifter, you're going to draw 12 cards.
That's disgusting.
Because this is going to give you 2 copies with Yarok out, and all 3 of them are going to have the draw triggers, but they're going to get doubled with Yarok. So that's going to be 4 draws for each of those Mull Drifters. So one Mull Drifter is going to draw you 12 cards if you have this out in a Yarok deck. Noxious Gear Hulk will destroy 6 creatures if you have this out with Yarok. This is only in less than 1% of Yarok decks. It should be in almost all of them. This card is insane in Yarok. I don't know why people aren't playing it.
That's cool.
This is I'm calling Joey Schultz. We got to challenge the stats on this.
There you go.
Now, he's probably watching. Everybody's watching, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, moving on here. So this
Legendary Spellshaper.
Legendary Spellshaper, Greel Mindraker. Okay, so remember how I said we were going to talk about Turgid? This card belongs in Turgid. It's currently only in 140 decks, but I feel like somebody's gonna like stumble upon this at some point and start throwing in Turgid, and then everybody's gonna realize it and start doing it, because this seems like it'd be really, really good in Turgid. Chris says, "Already there, buddy."
You did not build Turgid. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, Turgid is gross, but it is getting built a lot. It's in the top 10 on EDH Rec of decks being built.
I don't want to play against it over webcam, but like if it was in person, I honestly wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, it's super powerful, but yeah, over webcam it would just be too messy. Like you'd spend too much time drawing infinite tokens for everything. Mm-hmm. So this is in 140 decks. It's leading 17 decks. If you're building Turgid, don't. But if you are, I would give this a try. This is a really good discard card. What do you think?
It's a Legendary Spellshaper, and that's all I gotta say about that.
Okay, moving on.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
the next one.
We got another one.
It's probably my favorite Legendary Spellshaper.
Okay.
Jolrael, Empress of Beasts. So it's 3 double green for a 3/3 Legendary Spellshaper. Alright, so it's 2 green, tap, discard 2 cards. Until end of turn, all lands target player controls become 3/3 creatures that are still lands.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could use this in response to a board wipe to destroy all the person's lands.
Yeah.
You could also just use this after a board wipe, assuming you have haste and everything, to Alpha Strike somebody out, which is exactly where you want to be, using this. And it's just that simple. It makes all of your like cards like Sylvan Awakening, which I think you're a fan of. That's a really good card, especially on a budget. It gets me killed a lot.
I like Rude Awakening because it untaps my lands. I'm not a huge fan of waking up my lands because that's some dangerous stuff.
Let's have the fun.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, yeah, that was my thought too. Is this is like the original Kamal, which is anti-board wipe, threaten tech. You know, say if you wipe the board, I'm going to turn all your lands into creatures, and then.
Colin says targeted mass land destruction. Yes.
Yeah.
But I really just want to use this on myself. Make all my lands 3/3s. Have ways to untap all my creatures to make like 1 million mana, and then do something cool with it.
Yeah, it's decent. It is in 581 decks. It is leading 96. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. It's a decent card.
Yeah, I'm good on that as well. I like it.
Okay. Avatar. Oh, we got another avatar here. Avatar of Might. Might or might not. 6 green for an 8/8 trample. If an opponent controls at least 4 more creatures than you, Avatar of Might costs 6 less to play. Listen, if you're running,
also might not cost 6 less to play.
If you're playing big green stompy creatures and somebody has more creatures than you, 4 more creatures than you, you're doing it wrong. But I guess
if you're playing Voltron.
If you're playing Voltron?
Yeah.
In green?
Yeah, like Throne the Last Troll, or
I guess. I mean,
yeah. That ape from Dominaria. Galta with. I guess you need creature for Galta. I don't know. There's mono green Voltron stuff out there.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say you do cast it for the reduced cost because somebody has 4 more creatures than you. Does this help you to recover? Getting 1 8/8 trampler?
Maybe not, but maybe they won't swing into your giant 8/8.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm not high on this, but what do you think?
I think that all of these avatars were reprinted in either core set 9 or 8th edition, 9th edition, or 10th edition. Which means they're considered core set cards, so maybe you'll see one. I don't know.
Well, all right. Let's see. Yeah, people in chat say Voltron. Yeah, Gruon.
That's the ape. Thank you.
The ape. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not high on this, but I've never.
Home. I love it.
I don't know. I never want to run a card that's gonna be better if I'm behind, you know? So I don't want to ever assume that I'm gonna be behind and get more benefit out of it because of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. I am a fan of catch-up mechanics. This is not exactly a catch-up mechanic, but it's getting there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I understand if people like this. It's not for me though.
Well, how about another legendary spell shaper?
It's for you.
It is. We have Alexi Zephyr Mage, 3 double blue for a 3/3. You can pay X and blue, tap it, discard 2 cards, and bounce X creatures. This is extremely powerful, and you are in blue. Sometimes you want to be discarding cards. It doesn't matter because you probably have like 90 cards in hand. This is probably the most powerful legendary spell shaper in this set.
Okay. Huh.
It's also kind of really annoying to play against, kind of like Magita the lion.
Just keep bouncing, bounce.
Yeah, you
Bounce
can put this in
everything.
like, the new Baron decks or anything that cares about bouncing, new Thassa, anything like that. You can get value off your Archaeomancers, your Muldrifters, anything with an ETB. Play in that your lock deck you were talking about.
Yeah.
Lots of utility with just bouncing creatures. I think if you were gonna play mono blue, you could pick a worse commander like Blindseer.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you kind of turned me around on this one. I was not too keen on it when I was looking at it earlier, but yeah, I guess if you want to do like ETB shenanigans and want to bounce your own stuff, that's kind of cool.
This also makes sure you don't get attacked ever again. It's like it's like a more expensive Aetherized in the command zone.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, we both know how good that card is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is a very good card. Colin asks about Alexi's Cloak. That is in this set, but it is not a rare, so we will not be looking at it. Alexi is in 123 decks, but only leading 15.
Could be more.
Could be more. Okay, here's another avatar. The red one, Avatar of Fury. 6/6 flyer for 6 red. If an opponent controls 7 or more lands, Avatar of Fury costs 6 less to play. Now that sounds easy to do. This one's easy to get the reduced costs on. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem there. And it has fire breathing.
It's a dragon that's not a dragon.
Yeah, it looks like a dragon too in the art. It's so dumb. So, how do you?
Like a knife.
That's not a knife.
That's an Avatar of Fury.
How do you feel about this card? Do you think
I really like this card. It's if you need like cheap big beaters, like I would put this in Brian Stoutarm if I had a copy of it. I actually might have a copy lying around somewhere, but
okay.
It's almost always a 2-mana 6/6 flyer in the late game. It scales very well.
Yeah.
And then if you're playing mono red, you can just dump all of that excess mana that you now have into it, making it you can make this I think a 12/12 if you wanted to pay full price for it.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a good card. I like it. It's in 306 decks. Yeah, if you can give it, you gotta protect it. Otherwise, it's just gonna get, murdered out.
If someone wants to burn a murder on my Avatar of Fury, please do it. I'm super okay with this eating a burn spell, and if it doesn't, even better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill somebody with Avatar of Fury. This is like that the 2-headed dragon that we saw in Mercadian Mass. This is right up that alley. I love this. I love that card. I love this card.
Yeah. So let's see. Colin's talking about playing this in Ilharg. Yeah. Easy to flash in.
Pump all your mana into it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's 6/6 flyer for 2 mana with fire breathing. It's can't complain about that.
Nope.
All right. Look at the next one in our wind cycle.
We have Searing Wind, 8 and a red for an instant. Searing Wind deals 10 damage to any target. I have killed people with Searing Wind. It just kind of gets people because it's a really bad card. It's super overcosted, but it's an instant, so you can get people with it. Yep. Can you tutor this with Grozoth? Yes, you can.
Yeah. So 9 mana is a lot, but it's instant speed, and that gives it a huge bump in the playability scale. It's in 139 decks.
All of them are mine, I guess.
Yeah. And I think this one could be going up with the call time cards that we're seeing that care about excess damage, like Agar and Toralf. Yeah. I think this is gonna start seeing more play.
Yeah, there we go. You know what? You know how Fire Emancipation makes all burn spells really good? This could literally kill a player. With Fire Emancipation. It's 30 damage, you're dead.
Yeah.
Take a hike. See you later.
Yeah.
It's your turn and then you lose. But it's funny.
I think this should definitely go in Toralf decks. Most definitely.
In fact, the first player I killed with this was Chris. So thanks, Chris. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Chris. All right.
Well, here's another wind card. Why don't you take this one?
Okay. Denying Wind. 7 blue. Search target player's library for up to 7 cards and remove them from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. That's a sorcery. It's 113 decks. Obviously, it's in the wind cycle. It's unplayable over webcam. And I don't like the feel bads that would come with this. For me, like, just removing 7 cards in your deck from the game, like, I'm just gonna take out all your win cons and then sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't win you the game, but it does make an opponent concede.
Yeah, which is never a fun way to end a game for anybody.
Right. Can you tutor this with Grozoth? Yes, you can. The only saving grace for this card is that you have Grandpa Clouds in the back, so
Yeah, okay.
I guess that's cool. Maybe next time Tony something or other.
Wow, that's a lot of non-vowels.
Yeah.
Tony
non-vowels.
Tony Zuzudio.
You know vowel have an artist? Alright.
I think they call it consonants is what most people call those, but I'm calling them not vowels from now on.
That's what we live on, Andy.
All right. Tell us about this one.
Right. Infernal Genesis, 4 and double black for an enchantment. On each player's upkeep, that player mills a card. They get X 1/1 black minion tokens, where X is that card's converted mana cost. This card's freaking sweet. You can just make a ton of tokens if you need to. Like in Ayara, if you're playing any sort of big creatures, this is like a ton of damage, right? Because I don't think there's a no token clause on Ayara.
Yeah, I agree with you. This card is awesome. It's in, let's see, 471 decks, so not like incredibly underplayed, but could definitely see a lot more play. Has a lot of fun combo potential. It's most commonly played in Grismold, the Dreadsower, who gets a +1/+1 counter whenever a token dies. But what I want to do with this is I want to run it in Sir Conrad, and then play Karavek the Spiteful, which gives all other creatures -1/-1.
Now, who gave you that idea?
So that they all just die as soon as they hit the board, and then Conrad triggers and.
Oh.
This card's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It can go in a lot of different styles too. It can go in token decks.
Wow, this is some dual nature, some sweet enchantments, and the Celestial Convergence. All right, so that's cool. One for Mark Rosewater. Seems well designed to me.
Well, the enchantments are good. Good job on the enchantments, buddy.
Speaking of good cards, why don't we check out Avatar of Will? It's got to be like Force of Will, right?
Yeah. Avatar of Will, 6 blue, 5/6 flyer. If an opponent has no cards in hand, Avatar of Will costs 6 less to play. Wow.
Yeah, it's a 5/6 flyer.
For...
So if your opponent casts Force of Will and discards their card, and they have no cards in hand, there you go.
I mean...
This card's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. How often are you... You're very rarely hellbent in Commander, right? Like you.
Well, I prefer the term heckbent.
Okay, I'm sorry I offended your virgin ears with my foul language.
Too many vowels.
Too many not vowels. Yeah, no. Avatar of Will is really bad. Should not be played. It's in 45 decks, and I don't know what those 45 people were thinking.
That's 45 too many. Maybe they're playing Prophecy Tribal.
Prophecy Tribal. I want to play the second worst set in Magic history.
Oh jeez. Oh Colin, I don't want to look at that card anymore.
Windfalls and Narset. Come on, buddy.
Oh boy.
Get out of here with that. Go home.
Would you call this next one Blessed Wind or Blessed Wind?
I'd say probably blessed.
All right.
think
All right.
you sound a little hoity-toity when you say blessed.
Blessed win. It is 7 double white for a sorcery. Target player's life total becomes 20. I love this card. I also play. Can you do it with Grozoth? Yes. But how Searing Wind hits an opponent for 10, this hits an opponent for 20. Or more if they're playing a life gain deck. It can also save you, putting you back up to 20 for 9 mana. It is overcosted, but it's not the worst 9 mana spell I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's I don't know. 9 mana for this effect is just, it's a lot. Plus, there's gonna be points in the game where it might not do anything. Like, you know, midway through the game, some people are gonna be like right around that life total. It might not do anything at that time, you know.
Then you just hold or discard it to Force of Will.
I guess.
So you can play Avatar of Will. I don't know. I don't know how Force of Will works.
Apparently not. You can't. No, it has to be a blue card.
Oh, right.
Okay. Blessed Wind is in 31 decks.
One of them is mine.
Yeah, I guess. All right. We got a real stinker here. Bog Elemental, 3 black for a 5/4 with protection from white. All right. Now if we stop there, that's decent.
Yeah.
I still probably wouldn't play it, but then we have at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you sacrifice a land. So I mean, the benefit is you can't hit it with swords or Path to Exile. But yeah, why would you want to? There's no evasion on it except for protection from white, you know. I think there's cheaper and better ways to sacrifice lands than this.
Yes, and yeah, as you said, faster. This is only on your upkeep. There's flavor text on here. When the bog walks, the wise run, and it's by Orisa the Bog Witch. And now I want an Orisa the Bog Witch card to put in my Bog Brew Witch Tribal.
There you go. Commander Legends 2. Make it happen, Gavin. We know you're listening. Gavin's watching. He always is.
Good. Yeah, I don't like this card.
Bog Elemental is in 11 decks. No surprise. Why? No surprise there.
It's an elemental.
We've got a card coming up. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit for you. We got a card coming up that is only in 1 deck.
What? All right, I guess I gotta read it then.
All right. So no, not this one. Coming up later.
Oh.
We'll get to it.
So we got Coffin Puppets, 3 double black for a 3/3 zombie. Sacrifice 2 lands. Man, Prophecy hates lands. Return Coffin Puppets from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only during your upkeep, and only if you control a swamp, which you probably just sacrificed. It triggers Sir Conrad. And it triggers Tormod.
Desecrated Tomb?
Yeah.
Still not good, though.
It's... Art's freaking sweet, but the ground won't accept them, and neither will I.
5 mana for a 3/3 that does almost nothing besides come back from the graveyard. No, I don't want this.
Nah, I'm a pass on this one.
Okay, look at this. Look at this.
This art is sweet.
This grody card. All right, Elephant Resurgence, 1 green for a sorcery. Each player puts a green elephant creature token into play. Those creatures have this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard.
Ooh. Okay.
So, it's possible if you're running a self-mill deck that you'll have the biggest elephant. Elephant doesn't have trample or anything, so people can just block it with their elephants. So, what?
Which you can mutate onto this thing. Okay. Ooh, Andy Fleury says, It's fun in Gerard. Oh, and then you can like fling it. That's sweet.
Okay.
For 2 mana, I I honestly think this is a pretty okay card. I want
Yeah,
some
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, you're turning me around to it. Thanks, chat. Yeah, Nethroid sounds. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You can mutate onto it. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, Gerard as well.
Yeah, I probably just play this for the art. Like, it's really cool.
This is just desiccated elephant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like green Dumbo and also a zombie.
Yeah, you can see all of its ribs and everything.
I'm going to pretend it's a liar, and yeah, we're just gonna leave it like that.
Okay.
Cool. This card's not so cool. Fickle what? Efreet?
Efreet.
Efreet. 3 and a red for a 5/2. Whenever it attacks or blocks, flip a coin at the end of combat. If you lose the flip, an opponent gains control of it. Cool in Blim and Zedru and that maybe your coin flip decks.
Okay. So my first thought was Blim, Comedic Genius, should be running this. But then I read the card again and realized that this has to survive the combat. And with 2 toughness, it's probably not gonna. So I think this card has cool design intention, but poor execution would make it so easily killable. You know, almost anything blocks this, it'll die. So you can't give it to anybody, you know. So
right, and if you're banking on it, 1 surviving and 2 surviving so you can give it away.
Yeah.
That's too many things.
Yeah, even if you're running the coin flip partners, Zindersplit and Okon, you're flipping coins, but it still has to live until the end of combat.
And once you lose it, you don't get to flip the coins anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It is in 145 decks, and that is mostly Zindersplit and Okon.
Oh boy. That is a card. I don't know what's going on in the art. Is it holding like a dog or a cow? I don't know what that is.
What? In the card we're looking at now, or in Fickle Efreet?
Fickle Efreet. Is it holding a dog or a cow?
It looks like a small cow.
Is there such thing as a small cow? Like other micro cows?
Like a baby cow? Oh,
not like a calf, but like a micro.
A micro cow, like the micro pig. Oh, that sounds like an awesome pet.
And Fickle Efreet is eating it, I think. I don't know what it's doing.
Yeah. All right, Forgotten Harvest. 1 and a green for an enchantment. Well, we've had good luck with enchantments so far. Let's see how this one turns out. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may remove a land card in your graveyard from the game, fitting with the theme of this set, which is sacrifice your lands. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Oh, yeah, I'm not liking this. This is pretty underwhelming. I mean, there are cards that like just give you a +1/+1 counter without having to sacrifice your mana sources.
Yeah.
Or remove anything from the graveyard. You can just get a counter.
I think this card is best left forgotten.
Okay. Yeah, it's in 15 decks, so not a lot of people care about this one. Okay.
Is this the card that has 1?
This is the card that you guessed it. Wow. It is in 1 deck on EDH Rack, and it's probably not underplayed. Why don't you read it for us?
We have Jeweled Spirit, 3 and double white, which costs less than Avatar of Will for a 3/3 flyer. You can sacrifice 2 lands to give it protection from artifacts or from the color of your choice until end of turn. Now, you know me. I like my my color hack stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like this card.
Sacrificing 2 lands to protect a 3/3 is a lot to ask.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
What's going on in the art? Like, what are you hiding? I know it's not lands because you just sacrificed him. So what is it?
I,
Mutate Hunt.
Stop saying that for every card.
This creature is a big secret to keep.
Yeah, the secret is, why did they make it?
The secret is, why is somebody playing this in their one deck?
Oh god, this next one isn't much better though. It's another overcosted artifact. So it's 5 mana for Keldon Battle Wagon. It's an artifact creature. It's a 0/3 with trample. Okay, it can't block.
Cool.
When it attacks, you have to sacrifice it at end of combat.
Not cool.
Tap an untapped creature you control. It gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the tapped creature's power. This card is hot garbage. So this is
rad. Look at that thing.
This is the crew mechanics ugly cousin that gets too drunk at weddings. This card sucks.
When you have one too many shots of tequila at your 2-year-old's wedding, or not wedding, birthday. Ugh. No, Battle Wagon is like, the name is sweet, the art is sweet, and that's as far as that goes.
Yeah, just cut off like the bottom half of the card, and you got yourself.
Oh no, SPDO is saying play it in Brian Stardarm. You totally could. You crew with the avatar of the Sayer's avatar, make it huge, attack with it, and then right before it dies, just fling it.
Yeah, okay. That's a lot of hoops to jump through, especially if at 5 mana.
Colin says use it in the new dwarf deck to tap all your dwarves.
Oh,
sure.
for Magda?
Yeah. You know, you can tutor this out with Magda. That's spicy. Okay. Alright, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I guess I didn't consider the fact that you can tap multiple creatures.
If you build Magda, you better get the Battle Wagon. I'm telling you, man. Battle Wagon is sweet.
No, this card's awful. You only get to use it once.
Well, it doesn't have to attack each combat, right? It just has if it attacks.
Yeah, but it can't block. So what good is it?
It's for tapping your creatures, specifically in the new dwarf deck.
Oh. No.
We're gonna spike this card price. It's gonna go to
it's gonna spike at 2 cents.
All right, we have Jaya Ballard's redheaded step cousin. I don't know. They're all red. Latula, the Keldon Overseer.
Latula.
3 and double. Legendary Spell Shaper. That's right. You can pay X and a red, tap it, discard 2 cards, and fireball something. This is not a good Spell Shaper. As much as I love Spell Shapers, this is not a good one. You can play Jaya Ballard, which is a good Spell Shaper.
Uh-huh.
And does way more damage. The flavor text, everything around her suffers. I'm suffering right now just looking at this card.
Ouch. Wow. Latula is in 52 decks. She is leading 7 decks.
Ooh.
I don't think it's unplayable. You could run this in like Angie Falconwrath if you're doing like a madness thing, or if you want to do just a mono red discard madness deck.
Yeah, you could play it in Felden too.
Yeah, there are better things that do this better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
We're scraping the bottom here. Mercenary Informer. It's a 2/1 rebel mercenary. Can't be the target of black spells or abilities, so it's got Shroud from black. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
2 and a white. Put target mercenary card on the bottom of its owner's library.
Yeah, anti-tribal tribal tag. Get got.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. It costs a lot to do it, 2 and a white. But if you do Shields of Velas Vel to turn all of somebody's creatures into all creature types, and then, but you still got to pay 3 for each creature. That's a lot.
I've been hearing about shields like all week on Twitter. I guess I need to pick one up while it's still cheap.
Yeah, maybe. But I would not play this card.
No, I agree.
It's in 33 decks. All right, here we go.
All right, we have the Mungha Worm. It's 6/5 for 2 and 2 green. You can't untap more than one land during your untap step. People love their stacks effects. They probably don't like it as much when it's only on
you. I love not untapping my lands. So good. This is in 5 decks, which is 5 too many.
Worm Tribal.
No. And I'm not gonna mutate on it, so don't even say it. Don't even say it, Colin.
You can play it in Nethroi. It's 6 of your 10 power that you bring back. Why?
Stop it. Okay.
Ooh, this card looks spooky.
Psychic Theft. Alright, 1 and a blue for sorcery. Look at target player's hand, choose an instant or sorcery card from it, and remove that card from the game. You may play the card as though it were in your hand as long as the card remains removed from the game. Okay, if we stop there, I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more. At end of turn, if you haven't played the card, return it to its owner's hand. Like, if it didn't have that last sentence on there, this card would be playable. But it's not.
I mean, I like theft effects as much as the next person, but this is not one of the ones I would play.
Yeah, and I mean, unless you're running like Urza's glasses or something, or telepathy, you're not guaranteed to, see an instant or sorcery in somebody's hand.
No.
So it might do nothing. Or you might only see an instant or sorcery that's really expensive and you can't even afford to cast it, and it just goes back to their hand at the end of the turn. So it's kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you try to grab the only instant in their hand, they'll probably just cast it in response. And you can't spend mana and so mana of any color either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
no thanks.
Yep, Colin said Chaos Wand is better. I agree.
Yes.
Chaos Wand is much better. Alright, what do we got here?
But is it better than Rebel Informer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. It's 2 and a black for a 1/2 Mercenary Rebel. Which is funny because Mercenary Informer was a Rebel Mercenary, so I just flipped it.
Mm-hmm.
It has Shroud from white and does kind of the same thing, but it's colorless instead of white, or 2 and a white, so you can
pay
tuck
any
a non-token Rebel.
Yeah.
I think this one is better than the white one. If you were going to play one to spike your meta,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably play this one instead, just because pro white, in my opinion, is better than pro black.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it either way.
Yeah. And not more fun. Darn it, Andy. I was just gonna say that. We got more fun. You can mutate onto, by the way.
Semite Sanctuary, an enchantment, 2 and a white. Pay 2 mana, prevent the next one damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. Any player may play this ability.
This card is awesome.
Give me a reason why you would want your opponents to have access to this effect, aside from tempting them if you have a Price of Glory on the field and you want to tempt them to blow up their own lands. Why would you run this card? I couldn't think of any reason.
Mostly for like joke politics. Like, hey, I can play this card, and like you can block for days. You'll have to spend all your mana to do it, but eh. If combat is not your main win condition, this isn't terrible for you or your. It kind of messes up your opponent's plans too if they're trying to win through combat damage.
Yeah.
You gotta pay a lot into it, but the fact that it has like the warmonger thing, where everybody can do it, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about like Approach of the Second Sun earlier. Like if you're just trying to hit a some kind of alternate win con or something, and you just want to slow down people who are dealing damage to you, this isn't that bad, I guess. I mean, 2 mana for 1 damage isn't a really good return on investment, I think. But I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting political card.
Yeah.
Alright, this card is sweet. We got Search for Survivors, 2 and a red for a sorcery. I'm going to read the Oracle, or the new Oracle text. Reorder your graveyard at random. An opponent chooses one of those cards at random. If it's a creature card, you just put it into play, otherwise you exile it. If you have a way to sculpt your graveyard, or if you only have 1 creature card in your graveyard, this is Reanimate in red. And you don't lose life. It's really cool. And if you have all creatures in your graveyard, like this is good in Felden decks. Are any Felden decks playing this?
I don't know. It's in 17 decks. I didn't see what decks it's in though. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of hoops to jump through because you're gonna want to make sure that your graveyard is just creatures in order to get any benefit out of it, and you want to make sure that it's just good creatures. Otherwise, you paid 3 mana for, something that might not do enough.
Well, like if Solemn is the only creature in your graveyard in mono red, I would totally pay 3 mana to get it back.
I suppose. But usually if you're playing red, you're usually running like instants and sorceries.
Colin. Mutate deck, all creatures except this one.
Except card. This one. Okay.
If you're playing this card over that green card, that pretty much like puts all permanents in your deck into play, you're doing it wrong. I don't know. For 28 cents, I would totally pick up a copy of this card. I might actually do it.
Okay, you go ahead and do that, and you tell me how it ends up turning out. All right.
You know what? Okay, one more commander you could put this in. In Bladewing the Risen, if you spend 3 mana to get like a big old dragon onto the field, that's pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the randomness of red. It's one of my favorite parts of the of that part of the color pie. Because you could get cool stuff. You could also just get God, but for 3 mana, I'm not gonna feel super bad about getting God. It's kind of like Chaos Warp.
Yeah, I suppose. It might just do nothing. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it did something, that would make for a great story. Like, I played with this random card that nobody plays with, and it actually did a thing, and yeah, all right.
It's good, Andy. Just admit it.
I don't know about good, but it's interesting.
It's playable.
You just okay. Sheltering Prayers. 1 white for an enchantment. Basic lands each player controls can't be the target of spells or abilities as long as that player controls 3 or fewer lands.
Keldon Firebomber tech.
But this set just really wants you to like try and scrape by with as few lands as possible.
It's true, which makes Avatar of Fury really bad in the set.
Yeah.
Because you're sacrificing all of your lands. You're never going to cast Avatar of Fury because you're sacrificing your lands. Why is that card in this set?
I don't know. This card is unplayable.
Yeah, you can't even play it in like Noyan Dar because you don't want your lands to have Shroud because then you can't put counters on them.
Yeah, and who wants to only have 3 lands for the whole game?
Do we know if drafting was a thing when the set came out? I don't know.
Pretty sure it was. Pretty sure drafting's been around for quite a while, but I could totally be wrong on that.
Yeah.
And now I'm on record sounding stupid.
Well, it's here, folks, and now Gavin knows because he's watching.
Yep, he'll never talk to me again because I'm so dumb. Right. Why don't you read this one?
Shrouded Serpent, 4 and triple blue for a 4/4 Serpent. Whenever it attacks, defending player may pay 4, but if they don't, Shrouded Serpent is unblockable this turn. Would you believe me if I told you this is one of the better serpents printed in Magic history?
No, I wouldn't. Are you gonna put this in the Coma deck that you're gonna build?
No.
The Coma Serpents deck?
But you could. So serpents are, as somebody who plays sea creature tribal, serpents are like the weakest of that whole collaboration of creatures.
Yep.
Mostly because they have like island home, or you have to sacrifice things for it to do anything. This is one of the very few serpents that doesn't have a downside.
Aside from its disgusting mana cost, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can easily see this being unblockable pretty frequently. Not a lot of people are gonna leave up 4 mana every time. So I don't know if you're doing Blue Voltron, but still 7 mana.
See, the tech is to get him to pay for Rhystic Study, and then you hit him with the Shrouded Serpent for 4. That's a 10-turn clock.
yeah, 10-turn clock. I don't know. It's just too expensive. I don't want to pay 7 mana for this. Okay. Task Mage Assembly. 2 and a red for an enchantment. When there are no creatures in play, sacrifice it. Pay 2. It deals 1 damage to target creature. Any player may play this ability, but only anytime he or she could play a sorcery. So it's kind of like that white enchantment we just saw, where instead of preventing the damage, anybody can make the damage, but you can only do it at sorcery speed in this instance.
It's got the Pyrohemia clause, which is okay, sure, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was thinking is like, if you're running dinosaurs within Rage and Pyrohemia is just too expensive for you, or if you want to just have a redundancy in your deck for it, then you might want to run this.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. You can target your own Brash Taunter with it. I know you're a fan.
I am. I really am. But still, 2 mana for 1 damage to 1 target. Again, not a great return on investment, but you are in Zerda colors, so play this in Zerda. You can make it just 1 mana, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's all right. It's I think Pyrohemia is going to be better, but
yeah.
If you can't run Pyrohemia, then try this. If you're doing Enraged Dinos.
Or don't.
Or don't. Okay.
Oh boy. Oh, good old spirits. We have another one, Troublesome Spirit. It's a 3/4 flyer for 2 and 2 blue. At the end of your turn, tap all lands you control.
Because that is exactly what blue wants to be doing.
Because you gotta tap out. So okay, here's the tech.
Yeah.
If your opponent is on Troublesome Spirit, you got to sideboard in your Shrouded Serpent because they can't pay for the 4, so they're gonna take 4.
Yeah.
See, limited has to have been like this had to have been played like in limited.
I guess
I would not play this card. It's bad. I know we don't normally say that, but like, I don't know where you would want to play this card. Like, is there something that cares about having untapped lands?
Probably not really thinking anything. I don't know if you can. I don't know.
I know we're trying to be positive, on the show about cards, but This card's giving me some trouble, I will admit.
Yeah, it's just not good. I mean, you can nowadays you can just find like a vanilla 3/4 flyer for 4 mana.
Oh, there we go. Because we just talked about it. Thanks, Sully. You can play with Zedru.
Zedru to give it to somebody.
You can just donate.
Oh yeah, you could donate it with Zedru.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I don't hate it anymore. Thank you. See, positivity. We got there.
yeah, that is good Zedru tech. Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad you have the next one.
Oh, really? Okay. You're really excited about this. Okay, so we've got a 4/4 soldier for 1 and a red. Wow, that's some pretty good stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We don't have to read the rest of the card, do we?
Nope.
I'm sure there's no drawbacks on this whatsoever. Even though they loved giving red creatures drawbacks back then. Veteran brawlers can't attack if defending player controls an untapped land. Okay, so it's probably not attacking. It can't block if you control an untapped land. Wow.
In your troublesome spirit meta, veteran brawlers can get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're so smart, all that experience.
Alright. Moving on, we got the last wind.
Yeah, alright. Vitalizing Wind, 8 and a green, instant. Creatures you control get +7/+7 till end of turn. Can you tutor this with Grozoth? Yes, you can. This is one of the better wins, and one of the better cards you can tutor with Grozoth. The creatures you can... You're obviously playing this in a green deck with a bunch of creatures and whatnot. This is a sweet budget option if you don't have... Like, if you can't afford Hoof, and you already have a copy of Overrun.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cool 25-cent Overrun.
Yeah.
The cool thing is you can do this at instant speed, right? So
yeah.
you can attack everybody and no one's going to block, and then you just, whoops, get them. Or someone attacks you into all of your elves, and then you declare blocks before damage. You just cast this, and you just kind of kill all their creatures, which is really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being an instant makes this card super playable.
Yes. Is it good? It's not the best. Is it playable? Absolutely.
9 mana is a lot to hold up. But yeah, if you're on the attack and you just I'm just gonna jokingly attack with all my plants that I got from Revenger of Zendikar. Ha ha ha. Funny. Oh, by the way, now they are all really big.
There we go. Like, oh, I didn't get my land. I'm gonna send a message. The message is death.
The message is death.
I want to see that happen.
This is in 200 decks, so not too bad, but that's decent. I would run it. Hopefully you got some tramplers on the board.
Oh yeah.
And you're running big mana spells in green. You probably got some tramplers. Okay, got another expensive artifact here. Interesting art though.
Mm-hmm.
Well of Discovery costs 6. At the end of your turn, if you control no untapped lands, draw a card. Here's the thing. I think for 6 mana, it's pretty bad. If it was like maybe 3 or 4, maybe. But you don't want to leave. You don't want to tap all your lands. I mean, unless you play like me, which is you just go hardcore every turn and not worry about the consequences.
Yeah, you just tap out control.
Which is why I lose every time. But otherwise, yeah, I think I like the art, but not so much the card.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad artifacts that can draw you a card.
Yeah.
This is one of the bad artifacts. I would not play this over something like even there's like a a 6-mana Echo card that you can just tap it to draw a card.
Uh-huh.
I would play that over this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in reality, like, how many cards is this going to draw you? Enough to be worth it? No. I highly doubt it. By the time you got enough mana to cast this, it's going to be a pretty late game. So you might have it out for a few turns. It's not worth it.
Nah.
All right, we got a land here. Our first land of the night.
And the last one.
And the last, yeah.
Wintermoon Mesa. Enters the battlefield tapped. Boo. Adds card to list. Boo. 2 tap. Sacrifice it. Tap 2 target lands. No.
Why would you do that?
Why is this a rare?
Don't buy packs of prophecy, people.
Buy packs of homelands instead.
I mean, yeah, Ristic Study was an uncommon, so I guess, but no, don't buy packs of prophecy. All right, last card.
Actually, a good card. Oh, not good, but it's playable.
Heightened Awareness, 3 blue. As it comes into play, discard your hand. Boo. At the beginning of your draw step, draw a card. So you lose all the cards in your hand, but going forward, you'll be drawing an extra card every turn. This is in 52 decks, but I think you're just better off running Kumena's Awakening, which is only like 3 mana.
Oh yeah, that's true. Kumena's Awakening exists. I was thinking about this card in Shark Boy and Shark Girl. You know what I'm talking about? Like the discard and the draw
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
Brawlin and Shabazz.
Yeah, you could totally play this in there. Like, I wouldn't laugh at it. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Colin mentioned Riel. This would be good in Riel.
Yeah.
Discarding your whole hand because you just get him back, right? Or you just... Is that how Riel works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, you could just discard a bunch of cards. And then you just, recoup later on. Yeah.
Yeah, if you got Riel out, this isn't really there isn't really a drawback. I mean, 5 mana for just drawing an extra card every turn isn't great. Like I said, Kumena's Awakening is just all around better.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't awful.
Nope, not bad at all. If you're looking for Baron Master Wizard flavor text.
I always am. All right,
with this
well,
weird, TGI Friday collar going on.
That's it. That's Prophecy. The rares of Prophecy. What do you think of this set, Nick and people in chat?
Yeah, there were a couple cool cards in here. Like I gotta shout out that mono red reanimate card. Let me go back and find it. Search for Survivors. That card's friggin' sweet. I think it is.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite card of the treasure hunt. What about yours?
Well, I think I already talked about it, but I'm pretty high on Dual Nature. Yeah, I think that's a cool card. I think it's a really cool card, especially if you can take more advantage of it than your opponents, like in Yarok or whatever. I'm running it in my Emoti Cascade deck just because I have a lot of big creatures in there that I would like to have multiple copies of, like Tidespout Tyrant. So having 2 of those is pretty good.
Yeah, I also really liked Infernal Genesis, like the black enchantment.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's definitely good if you're doing token shenanigans.
Yeah,
with the Conrad or whatever. That's a good card. That should see more play. Yeah. All right. Well, people in chat, thanks for hanging out. Thank you to both Andy and Colin for resubscribing for 3 months. Both of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank
you very
very
appreciated. We'll get those Twitch bucks in maybe a couple more years. It'll happen.
Yeah. Next time we do like a show review or end of the year review, it's like, oh, we want to make like one Twitch buck. We're gonna frame it and nail it to the top of our bar that we will obviously have.
Yeah. All right, so everybody watching here on Twitch is all friends of ours. They're all following us. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want. Check out all our other videos. If you're watching us live right now, make sure to come back on Sunday for episode 6 of Scrap Trawlers with Chase and Jason, collectively known as Chasen.
Yes.
We're gonna be doing lots of core set stuff. Each one of us is playing a core set commander. Should be fun. I bet Nick thinks he knows what I'm gonna play.
I know at least one of the cards.
You know at least one of the cards that I'm gonna play?
Yeah.
How?
I'm gonna call it out right now. You're gonna play Barrage Taunter because it's a core set card.
We'll find out on Sunday, huh?
No, I found out already.
How did
but
you?
Everybody else will find out on Sunday.
How did you find out already?
Because
you haven't seen the list.
I haven't seen the list. I just know. I know
you don't.
things.
You don't know. You don't know me. I'm surprised.
You might see some avatars that were printed in core sets.
Searing Wind was reprinted in a core set.
Wait, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh no, I should have got one.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Not that I'm playing red or anything, because Brash Taunter's in red. It's gonna be Tribal Brash Taunters live on Sunday.
Yeah. All right, come hang out with us Sunday night, 7:30 Central. It's gonna be a good time. All right. Well, thanks everybody again, and remember, Black Lives Matter. Trans rights are human rights. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.